Record. So you recorded, Nicola?
Yeah, it's on now.
Okay, shall we start?
Yep, ready when you are.
Yeah, so hello and welcome. Thank you so much for signing up for our webinar today. We just wanted to let you know that this session is being recorded, and we also invite you to take part in this at the end of the session by asking your questions. So as you're listening to us talking to Maria, which will be in the form of an informal interview where she will be sharing her ideas and experiences, then if you think of a question, pop it in the chat section, and then we'll ask all your questions at the end. The best way to watch this is to put it in the speaker view, to put your settings in the speaker view, and you will be basically watching the person who is talking at the time. So let's start. Today our session is called... Can I also...
was I supposed to sort the clothes out?
Can I ask...
Was I supposed to sort the clothes out? All right. Why have you got all these in the flipping garden? Why have you got this flipping? Okay, why have you got this idiot?
Nicola, can you mute...
Press the purpose and the flipping it comes.
There you go.
Thank
Got it.
Okay. Great. Can I ask you to mute your microphones as well? That would be really helpful. Okay.
Okay, all sorted.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Right. Okay. So let's start. So today we have Careers Conversation with Maria Grzhib. Thank you for coming to our session today. She's a psychology graduate, and this session will be useful for anyone who is looking to study psychology or thinking or interested in that subject. Before we start, we'll tell you a little bit about Pro Academic and introduce ourselves so you know a little bit more about us. So my name is Anya. I'm co-founder and director of Pro Academic. Pro Academic is educational consultancy which supports students with applications to universities for bachelor's and master's. We work with students from different backgrounds and applying at different universities. And my personal background is working in education, British education, for over 10 years now, supporting students, particularly international students, with the university applications and also with the super curriculum activities. Nicola?
Hi, my name's Nicola, and I am the other co-founder of Pro Academic. And my background is 31 years working predominantly as a head of sixth form and working to support students with higher education applications and basically just wherever it is and whatever it is that they want to do in the future. As a result of that, I've gathered years of experience of the tips, tricks and complications that are needed when it comes to university applications, but also experience about what you can do with different degrees and also experience of just how daunting and intimidating it can be, but that actually it's not quite as scary as it might first appear.
Great. So I'll stop share and we start our chat with Maria. Okay. Right. Maria, thank you so much for agreeing to come and talk to us today. Can you tell us...
Thanks for an invite.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, thanks. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you studied at university.
Okay, my name is Maria. Russians call me Masha, and I am from Russia indeed. I studied psychology at City University, and before I was a student at Queen Elizabeth Collegiate in York. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It sums it up.
Okay, so let's go back to the sixth form. Let's take you back to Queen Ethelburgers. Tell us about your sixth form subjects, why you chose them, basically.
Okay, so well, I did what interested me, and it was quite a variety of stuff. I did A-level German, I did A-level psychology, I did BTech business. I started doing A-level maths, but then I decided that I'm not gonna need it, so I dropped it, and then I had A-level Russian as an exam as well. And yeah, that's it. Yep.
Mhm. Why did you pick the subjects? Can you just talk us through?
Sure. Regarding psychology, I was not sure. Well, regarding any subject, to be honest, I was not sure what I want to do. And in Russia, when I was studying in Russia, I wasn't particularly aware of the subject psychology, because in Russia we don't have that one. And I was just interested what I can do. So I started doing BTech business because faculty section of the school was allowing it to do. So it's basically courseworks instead of exams. And that format was quite interesting to me because it has so many similarities with how you study in uni, because you're independent, you have your lectures on certain stuff, and then you just roll off and write your assignments. And I found it quite interesting. It was very informative, and I loved it actually. Business BTech was great. So I was wondering whether I want to do business, but then I came across psychology, and it was quite I don't even know how to say it. The experience from the whole subject was quite weird, because even though it was interesting, but it was A-level is an exam based thing, so you have to prepare, you have to memorize stuff. It's not particularly useful in terms of life knowledge, but it's quite useful when you have to know your theoretical basis. And it was quite useful because we studied attachment, we studied forensics. It was quite interesting. Then we studied, what did we study? Developmental psychology, which is basically working with children and how children form their attachments. So yeah, it was fascinating. And then at some point, after a good half a year, I talked to my dad, and I was like, I really want to pursue this thing. It's really interesting. It's really captivating, and I am enjoying it. And he was very skeptical, but after a few talks with Nicola asking, we persuaded him and said, well, we came to a conclusion that it's a good path to take, and we just decided to stop our choice at psychology. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of
sorry, Annie, I was just going to jump in. On that note, I remember your dad's reluctance, and I suspect that there'll be other people listening into this whose parents perhaps have that same reluctance. Tell us what your dad was reluctant about, because I suspect it will be a common theme.
Straightforward thing. Where are you going to work? How are you going to earn your money? As easy as that. Because, well, the situation in Russia with psychology is that you have this, person in school, nowhere else, just in school, you have this person, psychologist, who never shows up. There is such a person somewhere in the school, but you never see that person, like, ever. And he was like, yeah, the only person I'm aware of is a psychiatrist, not even a psychologist. And psychiatrist who treats schizophrenia, it's his friend from army. So he was like, are you doing this? I'm like, no. Psychology is different from psychiatry. And he got confused, absolutely confused. And at that point, we started, researching into the sphere of psychology and area of psychology. What is it doing? How are you going to get, workplace? How are you going to earn money?
Yeah, I think one of the students we work with, their parents were concerned that they would, that psychologists just work with people who are permanently sad and need support, and you would just be dealing with someone else's problems all the time. Well,
yeah, there's such a stigma. Well, I mean, if you go into psychology, like, you want to become a psychologist, well, yes, that's very likely that's gonna be you. But psychology is not only about that. But I think we'll discuss it later.
Yeah, we'll definitely will. Okay.
Okay, so we'd relieved your dad of his concerns about, what career path you would take, and I think that's a common one. I think a lot of parents are really kind of thinking, where's the job at the end of this? And it's quite nice that you can kind of talk us through that, and there is a path. And more than just working with sad people all the time. So tell us about, you made the decision that psychology was it. How did you choose the universities when you made your decision to apply?
Well, it's I think it's personalized, to be honest, because for every person there is a different university. First of all, the location was important. My dad, he wanted me to study in London, and I wasn't particularly against that, so I was like, okay, let's look into that. Well, then with my choice of subjects, because not all of them were A levels, it was quite tricky to get a course that will allow you to get with your native language as an exam and BTEC. So out of that, King's was not an option, even though they have a great psychology course. UCL was not an option because they don't allow BSECs. And City was the one. It had good reviews, and well, after talking to a few professors, not in the UK but in USA, she said that City is a good ranking university and they have good professors and their dissertations are quite interesting. So there is a gap, a margin that you can explore. It's an interesting course and good university. So it was a good choice, I think, and I was pretty happy that I got there.
I think it's fortunate, not for you, it was unfortunate, and kind of the timing wasn't fantastic, but the opinions of some of these universities on BTECs are slowly changing, and they are becoming more accepting of it as they've seen that the skills and qualities that come out of a BTEC student, and marry that up with the A-level qualities as well, and actually you've got a great candidate. But I think, yeah, at the time, it was a challenge
At the time, yeah.
They hadn't quite got the idea at that point, had they? Okay.
Yeah.
So you picked your universities. During that period of time up to applying and during your application, did you do any work experience, or did you do any of what we now call super curricular, activities to enhance your application to make you look better?
Before uni, no. Before uni, well, I mean, I was a prefect at school. I put on CV that I play piano professionally, and I think that was enough. But I mean, personal statement was more of it was personalized, let's say. I had a lot of family experience and personal experience in that area, and I think they appreciated that. But other than that, nothing. After university, after finishing, before applying to masters, yes, I did quite a lot in different spheres, in different areas, but before uni, no.
So you drew on personal circumstances to kind of enhance your application. I guess that's valuable if you can get it, isn't it? Because it's go out and find work experience, but if something is happening within your family or your home context that's a similar situation, there's no reason why you can't use that as long as it's applied to the application.
Exactly. I think, and the thing is, you can always say that, yeah, I did work experience, but as long as you do not understand the concept within yourself, like, I mean, you had experience, but maybe you haven't been there fully, like, and experiencing this like theme fully, deeply, they won't take you on. But here, I didn't have any work experience, but I already saw the issue and we solved it, and I described it how we solved it. And I think that was the case. Basically, they were like, okay, fine, she understands. But yeah.
Were you drawing from, your psychology A level? Were you, when you were writing a personal statement about your personal circumstances, were you kind of drawing what you've learned on the course?
Of course.
Describe what the process and what you dealt with. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I can share this. It's not. Can I share it, Nicola? It's personal experience, but well, we adopted 3 kids, and it was quite challenging at the time for me as well, because I was a kid as well. And the developmental part of the psychology course in school helped me quite a lot, and our like mutual experience as a family was quite, well, I don't even know how to call it. It was just so resourceful in terms of the situation that you can gather and the experience that you can get from it. So yeah, I combine both the course and the personal experience, and I think that's the best way of writing your personal statement. You show your understanding of the theme, but you also have the experience and the examples of real life application.
Yeah, definitely. And with psychology, I guess there's just so many sides to it that you can be quite creative, I guess.
Yeah, you can use anything. Honestly, it's you know, life requires your psychological analysis at any point, in any case.
Yeah, definitely.
Tell us more about your university degree then. What was it like?
Well, first year was quite fun, as normal university would be. Second year was more challenging. Well, the most challenging part for me was not even statistics, because statistics we had through every year. So first year was research methods, second year was research methods, literally the course that is teaching you how to analyze data, how to gather data, how to make reliable and valid experiments, and how to analyze them and discuss them. And the most challenging part was the history of psychology, because well, it's literally I have to be bold, like I have to tell this truth. You are learning a history that is not going to be used in any case, like ever. You just have to know it, just as a, you're a psychologist, you're supposed to know about Freud, you're supposed to know about Aristotle, you're supposed to know about all these people that invented the idea of philosophy and I don't know, psychology at the time, but you're never going to use that. And for me, it was, well, I don't like to learn about something that is not useful. I'm a very bad student, to be honest. And it was quite challenging for me just to sit down and make myself learn it without a reason, just to know it and just to pass the exam, and that's it. But yeah, statistics is quite useful. And well, if you're going to go into the research field of psychology, that's the essential skill that you have to have. And this university provided a great safe bag for me, because I am very bad with maths, but even now I know how to use a SPSS, how to run it, how to analyze it, and how to write my conclusions.
So you did GCSE math, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So obviously you didn't persevere with your A-level maths. Do you think that GCSE math as a foundation was enough to kind of do well?
To be honest, to be completely honest, because I studied in Russia before, and we have a very strong maths course in Russian schools. We kind of were ahead of GCSE when we came to UK, so we knew all the GCSE stuff. It was just a different format, but we were ready for it. We all knew what is happening. A-level is quite different. First half year was on track, and then they lost us.
The reason why studying the history of psychology and then realizing that you're probably never going to use that, is that because the science of psychology has developed and moved on so much that it's kind of left its founding fathers behind?
Pretty much, yes. I mean, you have to know all the primitive basis, but again, psychology as well as society, we're developing at an enormous pace. It's so fast, and psychology is a social science, so we're codependent, and we have to adapt. And by the time we learn about the history of psychology, we're like, can you tell us actually how to apply this instead of this? So there's not too much practical stuff going on in the university, but a lot of theoretical stuff. And this was particularly annoying with this module, because we actually do not need it.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so we've looked at what you enjoyed most and what you found the most challenging. During your degree, what careers kind of content was there? What did you think you could do with the psychology degree?
Well, to be honest, I thought that I can do anything and everything, because well, you can go and become a counseling psychology or any other psychologist there are. You can go into aid. You can be helping with, I don't know, charities. You can also go into entrepreneurship or business, because you know about people, you know how they communicate, and you know how to communicate back. And well, you can go into human resources, which is basically the same thing. um, you can do a variety of stuff, because wherever there are people working, you will be needed there, because it's your area of expertise. You are a psychologist. It doesn't mean that you're always analyzing people, because it's quite a funny question. Everyone is asking me, are you analyzing me now? I'm like, no, no, I don't care.
That's a relief. I've always wondered.
But no, even though you like, I mean, depends on your personal experience, depends on your character, you can do this, I guess. But well, yeah, regarding the jobs, you can do anything, whatever you're interested in, you can go there. Well, personally, I'm interested in charities, and well, I want to start my own charity in Russia. So I found it quite interesting that I, with even with my bachelor degree in psychology, I can go even there. The area that is so far from me in terms of, because I want to start it, not just be a part of it, I want to start it. It's quite a different skill set. It's a different area, but I realized that I even though I have my degree in psychology, I can still do it.
Mhm. And it still will be useful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. So you've graduated a year ago, and you kind of, to start with, I guess you were not sure about the film plans that you had. So tell us about this year, what you've been doing.
Well, the reason why I didn't go into well, I didn't go into master straight away was coronavirus, as easy as it is. Not particularly well. I didn't enjoy last few months of the university degree when we were writing our dissertations and we couldn't get a hold of our professors. But yeah, now they're getting better at it and they're quite good. But yeah, at the time it was just not working for me, and I thought it's just gonna be a waste of time. So I decided to just stick around and try and do volunteering and probably find a job and just have more experience, practical stuff that I can then use when I write up my personal statement for my master's, and actually just use. You know.
Mm. So what
That was
experiences did you do?
well. I'm volunteering with Resources for Autism. It's a charity based in London. I'm a mentor for kids with autism, not only kids but young adults as well. And we are having our weekly meetings, and for different kids, it's different aspect, different aspects that we are working on. For some, it's just you know, not just, it's for some it's social skills, for some it's independent skills. So with some kids we are playing, with some young adults we are learning how to cook and how to be more independent. So parents will have at least like an hour of free time a day. It's a balance, and it's a quite new experience for me because I've never been in this sphere, but I'm enjoying it way too much. And then I've been also working with a Russian charity, but it's more of you know, it's volunteering, not by the profile, but still. It's called Gift of Life charity, and they're helping kids in Russia with leukemia. And I've been raising money for them, so I've been actually doing my own fundraisers and campaigns quite successfully, if I can say so. But yeah, it was cool because I wanted to have that experience as well. Because if I want to start a charity, I have to understand how the process is working, not only on the outsides, only not only on the outside of it, so how people are just like, yeah, we're going to give money, but how you start your own campaign, how you progress, how you develop it, how you make it not annoying but resourceful enough, like it's all about balance. And I enjoyed it. It's quite nice.
Can you, before we look at plans moving forward, tell us a little bit about this charity that you hope to kind of create and set up?
Well, I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's a Russian charity called the Naked Hearts Foundation. It's a charity that's helping kids with autism. Well, the charity itself is literally just training volunteers to go help the family. So it's pretty much the same, similar idea to Resources for Autism. And to be honest, the thing I want to do is literally make a complex with a variety of stuff that you can do there. It's for kids with autism, it's for kids with any other developmental issues. It's for parents to just have some time and relax and like chill for an hour in a week, the hour where nobody's gonna touch you. You're just gonna be there for yourself, I don't know, relaxing or doing any sports you want to do. So it's gonna be like an area of like how can I say this, basically buildings. A complex, yes, a complex of buildings that will provide you with all necessary therapies, playgrounds, because for autistic children play is very important. And I also want, it's my childhood dream, but I will also want epotherapy. It's basically a therapy with horses. So it's there's been studies that it's quite useful for stress relief and anger management and any developmental issues that you might have. It just reduces your stress levels and you concentrate better. So I want to have that one as well. Sports center for parents primarily, and maybe libraries just to have a rest and sit there and relax. So it's just going to be a complex that's going to be tough challenge to do, but I hope it's going to work at some point.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think there is anything like this here in the UK or in Russia, for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing, because charities that I'm aware of in Russia are basically recruiting volunteers and helping straight away. But I want to have the spot when parents are getting the diagnosis. They're like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? So you have the number straight away, and you do not panic. You just know that you're gonna not fix this, but you're gonna live your normal life with this, because it's it's your life and you're gonna enjoy it. And this is a place where they can call and be like, yes, we need help, and we're gonna say yes, we know, it's fine, come over.
I think we've got lots of bits of that in this country. Just none of it's joined.
Yeah.
I mean, riding for the disabled, to bring the horse bit in is something that has been going in this country for many, many years, and it deals with children with a whole host of different disabilities and disorders, including those with developmental disorders and not just physical disabilities. And there's huge amounts of research there about the benefits of it. You've got many charitable organisations that support parents, charitable organisations that support the children, like the one that you're involved in. But I don't know that there's anywhere that's set up a centre of excellence, which I think is what you're aiming for, where the parent can get the help, the child can get the help. There's other different therapies and accesses. It's quite an ambitious target you set for yourself.
It is, but I think it's I think it's gonna work, just because I do not want only to think about kids. I also want to think about families who are experiencing it, and it's tough for both sides. And I want to make sure that both sides are okay and both sides have their time off, So yeah, that was the main idea, basically.
Well, good luck. That sounds amazing.
Thank you.
Definitely. So moving forward, we know that that's the plan at the end. but you have got an interim plan in the middle to kind of help you to get there.
Yes. Well, first of all, apply for a master's degree, and had a choice of, well, actually two choices. LSE or UCL. LSE with social innovation and entrepreneurship course, which is basically course that will help me to get a better grasp of what charity is and how it works, and how to work with social innovation and what is required. And see, with psychology you can even go there. Or UCL, that will be a child development course, which is basically focused on child development and developmental disorders, or just normal child development. So yeah.
Given
And
the
after
perfect
that,
world, given the perfect world, you get an offer from both. Which would you take? Which is your leaning at the
to
moment?
be honest, I'd choose LSE.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because it's just a new thing for me, and I'm quite passionate about it, and I think it's gonna be worth it. Even though it's first of all, I have to earn for it, but it's quite an expensive course. But I think it's worth it because, well, for example, even though it's Corona time and there's no offline teaching, they counterbalanced it with few interesting modules. Like, one of the modules is basically called incubator, that is incubating your ideas. So if you have an idea, they help you to move them and actually make them work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's pretty useful as a startup. If you came there as to start your own startup, feel free, that you have all the help you need and advice. And I find it amazingly well. It's so resourceful. I want to go there.
Yeah.
And stay there.
And stay there.
So
Yeah.
you've got everything you can out of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I can imagine.
It seems like that would fit better with your plans as well. That would give you the skills that you need. So yeah, hopefully the application is successful. So you're just waiting at the moment to hear from them?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're playing a waiting game.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Thinking, kind of going off tack slightly from kind of where we thought we were going to talk about. You have got this big plan, this grand plan, and the next step of your education is to kind of skill you to be able to set up the charity, raise the funds, and then initiate this complex, this facility that you're planning. How do you plan to recruit staff who are capable and qualified? Is that something that you thought of, the idea of taking your education and your teachings back and implementing that back at home?
Well, yes, pretty much. All the experience that I get is from different areas that I want to combine. So I'm trying to get as many as possible, because lately I've got to know a woman who's who has her own charity in Russia with IPA therapy. And I've been talking to her and being around her for a while, while I was in Moscow, and that was quite resourceful. So and she is recruiting people who are helping her with therapy for autistic children and any other children with developmental disorders. And she's saying that it's quite a difficult process, but even though it is a difficult process, when you know what you need, it's quite easy and straightforward. At the beginning, she was not particularly aware of the developmental disorders and what it is, because she was not a psychologist. She has never had any experience with that area. She just had a thought, and that was enough for her. I want to come to this with a full realization of what I need, how I need to do this. And well, in Russia, it's quite challenging to find a good, well, not a psychologist, but a good and trustworthy volunteer. But I think there are people who are actually passionate about it and gonna help us, Did I answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think your passion for psychology sits at the root of this, doesn't it? And clearly that's
exactly
autism, but it still takes you straight back to that foundation.
Exactly. As long as you choose your foundation, so school and university, well, bachelor degree and A levels, pretty much the foundation that you're gonna build on. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna go into this area or into this like psychology field straight on. So you're gonna go into therapy and work there. No, it just gives you a base that you're gonna use for any of your ideas. It doesn't limit you in terms of choices. It gives you a stable, safe base that you can use as a ladder, you know.
Makes perfect sense. Okay, so put yourself in the position of our audience right now. Do you have any recommendations for resources or perhaps courses that someone could do who is thinking about psychology, perhaps for undergraduate study, to help them to make those decisions?
Well, I came across few quite interesting courses on Coursera. I'm not sure if I can recommend that or not, but I mean, one of which was rapid psychological help, is basically teaching you how to help in extreme situations. So if there's a fire or there is an earthquake or anything, you're going to be the first response team to the spot. And that was quite an extreme thing to learn about, but it's quite interesting. So if you want to get a hold of some psychological therapies, well, fast forwarded ones, this is the place you can look for. Another was about well, they have a lot of courses on autism and developmental disorders. The Coursera itself, the website, but they also have, well, I mean, because I'm Russian as well, so I can also watch Russian lectures there. And our university in St. Petersburg is making quite nice courses there as well, which was surprising, but I quite enjoyed them. So if you're Russian, you can watch them too. Well, if you go after your bachelor's degree and you don't know whether you want to do psychology as a psychologist or you want to go anywhere else, I suggest you do express courses. Universities are actually making those. City, I think, is making express counseling psychology courses. It's literally for those who are not sure if they want to go into counseling, but you can go there, have I don't know, a month and a half, I think, of lectures and practice, and well, pass the exams, and then have a qualification that you did this express course, and see for yourself whether you like it or not. So, and I think many universities nowadays are offering it. It's just month and a half, I think, and you're gonna get a certificate that you finished it. So it's not a year, it's just a month and a half. So yeah.
A quick short view of what the world will look like if you go down that route.
Yep.
What I was going to ask you next, I think it kind of needs reframing slightly from where we've come from, and it was about any tips or advice for anybody who's applying for psychology this coming year, to kind of join a psychology course next year. I think one thing I'm conscious of, having spoken to a number of clients and other students about it, is people perhaps don't know whether or not to do general psychology or to do one of the more specific psychology courses. What would your views be on it?
I'm gonna tell you the story how I applied for psychology. We went to UCL open day with Dad, and it was not just a psychology degree. It was linguistics in psychology, and I thought it was quite cool. So you're gonna analyze the language, and you're gonna read letters and see all the stuff that's happening there with metaphors. I realized that it's for mostly natives, because even though my English is not bad, I have no clue what's happening there. So the whole lecture, me and my dad were like this, but didn't get a word of it. So basically, the moral of this story is that I prefer to recommend bachelor as a basic degree, and then if you like it, you go into the specific sphere, a specific area, because then you have this basis. Without this basis knowledge of psychology, you cannot go further. And even though A level is great and they have a lot of information there, it's not even a half. So I recommend start with psychology, just general psychology course. if you want to do express courses like counseling psychology courses, you can try do that. And then if you want to go follow down this road, you can go into masters and do specific masters that you found quite interesting. That.
Yeah. And I guess the principle is do your research, because thankfully you went and visited as part of your research and very quickly realised that what you thought you wanted was not what you wanted at all. So do your research, look at the content, go or taste if you can. And there's so many universities doing online things. I think Anya would agree. This last month, there suddenly seems to be this frenzy of activity in universities for next year. They've got this year's applications sorted, their offers are out, and now they've really turned towards next year. But they are using this new online opportunity to be able to push out so much more. And there's taster lectures going on all over the place. I guess that would have really helped you to be able to have a try at lots of different things.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
So can I just ask everyone who is listening to put the questions down if they have any questions? We've got one question at the moment, but if you think of anything at all, just put it in the chat and we'll ask Maria to answer. Nicola, do you want to look at Liba's question? See.
Yeah. So Liba has basically said she's really unsure what to do. She did psychology at GCSE and did very, very well. She's now studying it at A-level. And she's worried that because psychology is such a wide subject, is it a good choice, or is it perhaps not as high status or as well thought of as being perhaps a doctor, for instance? And I think maybe there's two parts to this question. I think a lot of people assume psychologists fall into medicine, like a psychiatrist would, but also because it's so broad, do you still think it's got value and use and purpose?
Well, honestly, the way I'm gonna answer this question might be a bit weird, but it depends on you. So if you think, like, for me, it didn't make any difference. Psychiatry is another aspect of medicine. Psychology is a social science. I want to do psychology, and I literally do not care what anyone thinks about psychology because I am enjoying it and I want to pursue it. So, if you're how can I phrase this? It's up to you to decide whether you actually like it. So if you think about other people's opinion and that's why you are stopping yourself from doing it, or if you are actually not particularly interested in it and so you actually hear their advice and you're like, yeah, actually you are right, well, which one it is, it depends. So for me, it was quite easy. I have so many friends who went into medicine and I adore them and I cherish them. They're sane people. But for me, it was never a choice. I always knew that I want to go into social science, not into medicine. It's a different route. It's not less prestigious. No, it is not. You can do great things with this degree. You can do great things in any area, but with this one, it's not less prestigious. It's as great as psychiatry. It's just different. I hope I answered your question.
No, I think that's fair. I think in this country we are guilty of, there's not even a word, but statusizing. You know, different jobs have different status, and sometimes things don't meet this pedestal that medicine and perhaps law sit on. And I think that's a real shame, because you've talked really passionately about wanting to help people with autism and seeing the big gaps in support there. And yet that is it's a medical complaint to a degree, but yet it needs more than a medical solution. And that's where you and your skills, qualities and passions fall into a role. But I think that's perhaps something you didn't realise when you were in school. That's come about as you did your degree. You had to kind of go, do you know what? I love psychology. I don't care that it's not psychiatry and not medicine. I'm going to go and do something that I'm passionate about and I love. And then all of a sudden somebody switched the light bulb on, and the light bulb is I want to help people who've got this problem, and I can do that. And that's enabled you to bring other things in.
Yeah. I think, well, if it's if it is the same question, yeah, Laiba, she just finished her question with another message.
I'm reading your own question. Just take over. It's fine.
I'm sorry, but I just wanted to say that I have a great friend who is a counseling psychologist, and she is amazing. And I mean, if Laiba wants to talk to her about counseling psychology, because it's literally one of the reasons she went there into counseling psychology, because she wanted to help people. The same phrasing. That's just what I got from the message. And if you want to do that, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Great, cool.
We can put Library in touch with you. That would be no problem at all.
Sure.
Ala's question, I think, has got a bit of a relationship here, and that's what are the chances of getting a job with a degree in psychology. And I think you touched on this really at the very beginning when you said that everything that involves humans has an element of psychology within it. And we posted something on our Instagram, I think it was last week or the week before, about the variety of jobs that you can do with a psychology degree. Everything from marketing to public relations to working within human resources in a business to the more traditional psychology routes. Even the way that we brand things and the way that we all buy our products is very driven by this science now, isn't it?
Yeah, but this is research psychology. It's quite different. But yeah, it's also a path. But I just wanted to say that few of my friends from the bachelor course, they went into such different areas. I'm just gonna give an example. One girl works at Dior. At Dior. Well, she was working with human resources, but then she got promoted, and now she is one of the managers there, basically, of one of the, well, not one of the UK Dior company, because she got like friends with so many important people. And another guy went back to Brazil and started his own startup in social engineering.
Yeah. So there's opportunities for traditional employment, getting a job, but there's also a huge range of opportunities to do things that might be passion driven. Do you, talking from your own experience, what were the kind of the job prospects like when your cohort, your year group left? Are most of them in employment and settled and happy?
Well, it was coronavirus, so
of course, not the best of questions to ask. Yeah, you're right.
No, I mean, well, if I want to be brutally honest, half of the course was just disappointed and left to their own countries, and most of them did. Those lucky who were EU members, or at least, not at least, or like lived in the UK. They had better chances of getting a job. But to be completely honest, when I went back to Moscow, I got offers job offers from every company that I applied to, because they value English education and personal experience. So I guess it's not that bad for people who went to their home countries, who didn't particularly care whether they want to stay here or go back. But for those who wanted to get a job here and get settled, coronavirus was quite challenging.
Yeah. I think perhaps for a bit of reassurance for Ala, obviously jobs overseas, not so much of a problem. As a graduate, you stand a very, very good chance of securing good employment simply because you're educated to that level. There are so many big employers who don't actually really mind what your degree's in. It's the fact that you have been able to be educated to that level that gets you that toe in the door. And then from there on in, it's making the most of the opportunity, isn't it? So yeah, but we'll take the COVID situation out of it, because of course, so many people who had job offers and internships in place, that all disappeared when this all started. But, hopefully we're beginning to see the end of that.
One piece of advice for those who actually go and study psychology: use careers in the universities. They are amazing people. They help you to get internships. Like, honestly, do it. It's so worth it. Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Agree completely.
Yeah.
Use what's available to you.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's a question from Aidan here about the sort of extra things, and he's asking, are the psychology courses competitive, and what else can he do to sort of strengthen his application? He's already doing APQ, he's attending extracurricular activities, he's looking for work experience, anything else. And then you've touched on the courses, and this was a really good advice, Maria, about doing the Coursera or online courses.
Because they have certificates.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, because they have certificates, and you can actually put it on your CV or personal statement that you actually finished this course. But also volunteering is a good thing in any case, but when you're trying to apply to uni or internship, they also look at your volunteering experience sometimes, because the mentality of the company, of the university, of the course might be quite similar to what you're doing in your volunteering sphere. So yeah.
Agree.
Yeah.
Volunteering is the thing. Yes, just look for preferably any that is related to your course, but if there's nothing, still just do it and put it as it is. I did volunteering for 2 years, or like a year, or half a year. Still checks out.
Yeah, it's a really good advice, actually.
I think to answer the other part of Aidan's question, are psychology courses competitive? Some can be. Some can be incredibly competitive. We often use the course at Bath as an example, because it is one of the highest ranking courses in the country, and we've had the good fortune to listen to and to work with the guy who's in charge of admissions there, and his selection process is, well, to say it's rigorous would be an understatement. They expect a significant amount of supercurricular, extracurricular in there, and they want to see a thread and links between them, and they do not want to see just school-driven experience. So he actually highlighted examples of a student who talks about going on 2 psychology conferences, which they suspected had both been organised by school, and that was deemed to be insufficient. They wanted to, it was fine that they went on those courses, it was great, but they wanted to see something come off the back of that. What had this candidate done to demonstrate their passion, their interest, their love in a different way? They also focused particularly on your skills. So being able to demonstrate that you understand that psychology is a scientific subject, but it also has some elements of humanities about it. So there is essay writing and there is lengthy pieces of work to do, but there's also, as Maria said, the statistics and the really analytical side of things. And they were looking for evidence that you'd got those capabilities. So I think, Aidan, APQ, brilliant. Universities love it. And it's not just about your subject of research, it's about the skills that it will provide you with. Extracurricular, great, but you need to make sure that you've got perhaps some work experience, some super curricular in there, wider reading, the courses Maria's talked about. Really think about how you sell yourself, but it's not just a case of listing them, it's a case of doing them and then showing them that you understand that it's of value to them. It's the so what question, as we so often say, you know, tell me what you're doing, yes, so what? Tell me why you've done it and why I should be impressed and benefit from it.
That's great. That's great. So Liva is asking, do you think it matters which universities she goes to in terms of the way it focused on psychology? And I guess it's a question about you know, the ranking of universities. She mentioned Russell Group University, etc. I would definitely say you need to look at the content of the course, because they will vary, and see whether what they're going to teach you is going to be interesting. There's just so many sides to it when you pick a university. What do you think, Nicola?
I think don't pick your course simply because it's a Russell Group University. There is absolutely no doubt that a Russell Group University will perhaps look slightly more impressive on a CV or an application than one that is not. However, you can find yourself at a Russell Group University and be on a case that has got no content that you love. Maria's university would not be considered Russell Group in the traditional sense of the word, but it is considered to be a good, it's a younger university, so it likes to think of itself as very kind of forward thinking and adaptive and proactive. And from that sense, they're a little bit more brave with their content. You have got to find content that suits you. And with psychology, it is such a broad church, as Maria said, that you've got to make sure the courses have got things in that make you go, oh, I really look forward to that, or excellent, that's a bit more of what I used to do in A-level perhaps, or GCSE. Things have got to switch those light bulbs on, pique your interest. Would you agree, Maria?
Yep, every word.
Question from Al about internship. Did you manage to get an internship through university, or you didn't use that route? Did you?
Didn't use that route, but I have so many friends who used it. And well, my best friend, his name is Rafael, and he's from Brazil. He went to the internship for 2 months, and then they gave him an offer. And instead of doing a third year straight away, he took a gap year and worked. So that was quite an experience. So I've finished uni before he did, but he enjoyed it. And for people who are, well, for students who want to earn their own money, it's quite an option. Well, it's a good option. So you can have a gap year, actually study, pay for your studies, well, work and pay for your studies for next year, and enjoy the third year after work experience. And with that, you already have work experience and you're finishing your bachelor. So you can apply and do masters straight away.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
My experience of what students say about the careers departments within university is like everything. There are good ones and the bad ones, and it's usually the bad ones that people talk about. But I have heard students talk about, whilst being at university, dropping into the careers department and finding everything from a part-time job that's helped them, with a couple of evenings a week of work, through to links and communities and contacts that have given them long-term things. I think what needs to be remembered is a large proportion of the population now went to university, and you tend to be quite fond of your university, and therefore there's the alumni situation, and that's exactly where Maria comes to us from as part of our alumni. But those alumni links are really valuable to universities, because a lot of these people become successful and they're either holding down high-level jobs in companies or they run their own companies, and therefore those links can then be used to seek employment and opportunities and internship, because the person feels they're giving back to the university that gave to them, but the university is also gaining from having productive relationships that give their students opportunities.
Yeah. I'm a little bit conscious of time, and I think we've covered most of the questions. So I think we're going to wrap up, and I'll tell you now in a minute how you can get in touch with us if you have further questions. So I'm just going to share my screen and quickly show you one of the services that we offer as a company, which is the university application support. So if you listen today to Maria's talk and thought, right, this is great, and I want to have secure place at the university of my dream on the courses that I want to study, we invite you to check out our website and have a look at that one of our packages that we offer. And the university application one is where we work with students from kind of point where they're not sure where to apply and how to apply, to sort of building the application, helping them to choose universities, building a really strong academic profile, and supporting them with the application. But apart from this, we really want you to share, to follow us on social media. So we've got our Instagram account here, which is now look very strange here, but it's pro.academic. We're also on Facebook, and here's our email, hello@pro-academic.com. So if you listen to today's presentation and had further questions, just drop us a line and we'll either ask Maria to answer or try to help ourselves. And I will follow up this presentation with email to all of you with the recording of today's session, so you can watch it again, or like I said, drop us an email if you have further questions. Okay.
Thank you very much.
There's a question here from one of the listeners saying, can you help with application to different countries? Yes, we do. We help with applications to American universities, Canada, Europe as well. So, get in touch and we'll be happy to help. But Maria, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for inviting. Nice to see you.
Yes. And you as well. Thanks everybody else for coming. Hopefully it's been really useful and helpful.
Yeah, and we'll stay in touch. Thank you so much, everyone.
Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.